They're among our most endangered creatures, fighting to find their way back. Lee Cowan shares an inspiring tale of survival.
At first glance, this can look like a morgue.
Poor guy.
Sea turtles, limp and motionless. But if you look close enough, what might look like a corpse offers a slow glimpse of life. Those turtles all washed up in Massachusetts this past December on the windy beaches of Cape Cod Bay. They were nearly frozen to death.
The turtles, especially today, 38 degrees, if that turtle sits out for 2 or 3 hours, it's going to die. It's just not going to recover from that kind of shock from the cold.
The problem, though, isn't so much the cold as it is our ever-warming oceans.
This has been the hottest spot for turtles, too, and yeah.
Biologist Bob Prescott,
So we'll close it up.
Director Emeritus of the Massachusetts Audubon Wildlife Sanctuary in Wellfleet, says the Gulf of Maine, which includes Cape Cod Bay, is now one of the fastest warming bodies of ocean water in the world. Now, turtles like warm water, but they're staying up here too long. By mid-November, the temperatures start to drop too fast for these cold-blooded reptiles to handle, and volunteers are finding more and more of them washed ashore.
You see the movement in the flipper?
In a hypothermic state like this.
How's he doing? Can you tell?
This time of year you can't tell.
It's called cold stunning.
They may come in looking dead, they revive, they go up to the aquarium, and a couple of days later they crash. We'll put them in the box and that'll start to get them stabilized.
All sea turtles are in real trouble, but by far the worst off are these, Kemp's Ridley turtles, the most critically endangered sea turtle in the world. Since the 70s, they've been washing ashore, about a few dozen per year.
The first turtle I found was 1974.
But these days, Prescott says,
Now, we're up over 750, 760 turtles, and it started a month ago.
they've traveled a long way, unwittingly into danger. Their nesting grounds are thousands of miles to the south, along the warm beaches of the Gulf of Mexico.
What we're looking for is the tracks left in the sand.
Where Donna Shaver has spent her life trying to help the species rebound.
If we don't help save this species, we lose a piece that enriches us.
How big are the eggs themselves?
The eggs are about the size of ping pong.
She's the head of the Turtle Rescue Group at Padre Island National Seashore in Texas.
There's a whole variety of things that can harm them, from oil spills to boat strikes to red tide, entanglement and debris, ingestion debris, all of those.
Which is why all that urgent care they're getting back up north
All right, little buddy.
is more important than ever.
Let's get your picture taken.
Most have at least some degree of pneumonia.
There's definitely a little bit of fluid in the lungs here.
Some are so bad they have to be put on ventilators just to breathe. But they're also suffering from a lot of other things, fractured bones and dehydration, for example.
He's okay. He came in yesterday, so he's still pretty early in the treatment process.
This is the Animal Care Center for the New England Aquarium, a state-of-the-art facility just outside Boston that specializes in treating cold-stunned sea turtles from Massachusetts to Maine. They have an 80% success rate at bringing these turtles back from the brink.
It's moving a little, huh?
This Kemp's Ridley came in with barely one heartbeat a minute.
Anything? No.
But biologist Adam Kennedy says for such a small marine turtle, they are remarkably resilient.
Because of this, they will likely give another round of epinephrine, probably atropine as well.
Treatment can last up to 2 years, but Kennedy can really only manage between 40 and 80 turtles long term. And with the warming waters, hundreds are now getting trapped every year, and that's just too many four-flippered patients for any one rehab to oversee. It's basically a mass casualty event. They need other hospitals to help. But that left Bob Prescott with a question.
How do you get a turtle from here to there?
The answer? Give turtles a ticket to fly.
A happy reptile makes for a good passenger.
Ken Andrews is vice president of a unique nonprofit called Turtles Fly Too.
This is in a lot of ways like a life flight.
It is a life flight. It's a medevac flight, absolutely.
Turtles may not be meant to have their heads in the clouds, but there really is no other option.
There's no agency, there's no staffing, there's no funding, there's nothing there to make this mission happen, and these turtles will die if somebody like Turtles Fly 2 doesn't jump in to help.
It could never happen unless hundreds of pilots were willing to volunteer their time, their planes, and their fuel to rush the rescued turtles to willing rehab facilities all around the country.
Where do you guys get your funding?
Yeah, what funding? I wish. We desperately need it. Our pilots that are flying these missions are pulling $1 million out of their pocket to fly these missions every year for us.
On this particular mission, Ken, with his dad as co-pilot, will fly more than 2,000 miles from Boston to Atlanta, then on to Gulfport, and finally Dallas, dropping off 44 sick sea turtles along the way in hopes that one day they'll be well enough to be released.
All right, I've got some temps for you guys.
90% of the turtles that we've moved to rehab have ended up back in the ocean.
Wow.
Yeah, overall, everything was good. All right, buddy, get out of here.
These lucky passengers landed at the Texas Sea Life Center in Corpus Christi, Texas back in 2021, courtesy of Turtles Fly 2.
Could you do this without them?
We could not do this without their help, no question. You ready to go, huh? I think so, yeah.
Veterinarian Tim Tristan, the director here, says it took a while, but with good care and the help of volunteers, these turtles are now finally ready to go home again.
If they can make it through our front door, we have a pretty good success rate with getting them turned around and getting them back out to the wild where they belong. You seen a sea turtle before?
A crowd gathered at the beach of Padre Island.
Oh my gosh, they're so handsome.
Most never get to see a Kemp's Ridley turtle. There are far too few.
Everybody wants to see some turtles released, right? All right.
But on this day, there were a few more. Biologist Donna Shaver says this release is modern conservation in action.
They take with me their hopes for the next generation.
There are few privileges that I have ever been offered.
Look at this.
Quite like this one.
How cool. Look, buddy, you're going home.
We humans have not always been kind to the sea and those who dwell in it.
All right, buddy. Go home, bud.
But on this day, it was humans. Certainly not me, but the hundreds of veterinarians, biologists, volunteers, and yes, pilots, who all came together to give these critically endangered sea turtles what they rarely get: a second chance. Who says you can't go home again?